Hello, everybody. Welcome again to an exciting edition of Kirk's Critters Plus here on WLNS Plus. I'm so excited with today's guest. I can't even tell you. Let's say hello to Kirbay Preuss from Preuss Pets, the iconic pet store in Old Town. Iconic, and that is an understatement. You guys are really, you're world renowned. And we should mention you are Rick's daughter, right?
I am Rick and Debbie's daughter,
Yeah.
yes.
And so thank you so much for being here. I
Yeah,
really
thank
appreciate
you.
it. I want to start with the history. Well, first of all, the family has had a history in Old Town for a long time, right?
A long time.
Talk about
Yeah.
that. Talk about that.
Yeah, so there are several buildings in Old Town that actually say F. Preuss on
Yeah,
the top,
right.
which is an ode to my father's great-great-grandfather. He actually was a brick mason, and so he helped to build some of the buildings down
Right.
there. You may be familiar with Pablo's,
Yes.
the wonderful Mexican restaurant.
Yes.
That would be one of them.
Okay.
And so it's
And
just...
I remember, just so, because I'm old as dirt, I remember the restaurant that was there in 1999, 2000.
Okay, what was it?
I think it was called the Brick House.
No way.
Yes.
Okay. Need to
Yes.
do some more research. This is exciting.
Yeah, because there was another restaurant there. Sally was the owner.
Okay.
And it was homemade fresh food. Yeah, when I was first in Lansing the first time in 1999, there was another restaurant there. Anyway, sorry to interrupt.
I love learning more
Yeah.
about the history, and
Yeah.
that's the beauty of Old Town and where
I
we're
know.
at, right? There's so much history. And so my father, when we were starting to look at new buildings back in 2004,
Okay.
he took my mom and I to Old Town and said, "What do you think of this building?" He said that he remembers spending Christmas there as a child in Old Town,
Okay.
and that there were strong roots there.
Yeah.
And as you know, back then it was not what it is now
No.
in Old Town.
No, in fact, when I lived in Old Town in 1999,
Okay.
and people used to call me an urban pioneer because it was just it was still like slightly sketchy, but on the way up. And I loved it though when I lived there. I loved it.
Yeah.
I loved it.
And I think, when we first saw it, and you've got to have some context. So I grew up in small town Williamston. We had our store before this. We rented out in Hazlitt at Hazlitt Village Square. And so when we arrived in this area in Old Town with where it was at, I think my mother and I were a little, okay, this is what you're thinking. And the building, as you know, back in 2004 was atrocious. I mean, it had sat vacant for a number of years. Formerly, it was the first Ford dealership, actually, in the city of Lansing.
Really?
So it needed so much work. I mean, it was not what you see now. And so we were hesitant.
Yeah.
And our staff...
Let's remind people where exactly you're located too, though.
Yeah, so we're right in Old Town, right at the intersection of Cedar Street and Chavez,
Okay.
right on that corner across from Speedway.
Yep.
And yeah,
I remember when the Speedway opened.
you do?
Yes, I do. Anyway, no, I love Old Town. So you guys were a little skeptical in the beginning at the building.
Skeptical.
Yeah.
And I mean, it was just so much work.
Yeah.
It wasn't like a space that we could lease that was ready to go turnkey.
Right.
It was,
So how long did that process take from purchasing the building to opening?
yeah, a few years
Okay.
and a lot of holdups. I mean, we had gone through O'Leary paint for the flooring that we use in the fish room. When you have a fish room, you have to make sure that it's slip resistant.
Right.
And so we actually used paint chips in the flooring that helped make it slip resistant. And it didn't set right.
Oh.
And so the floor bubbled. You can't
Oh.
open a store without a floor.
Right.
And so we had many hurdles, but we got there.
And you were young at this time, right? Younger? I mean,
I was in high school,
Okay.
my junior, senior year of high school when
Okay,
we did
gotcha.
this. Yeah.
now did I read somewhere that the whole idea of a pet store was actually Rick's mom?
Mm-hmm.
Talk about that.
Yeah, so my grandmother, Jean Preuss, had a big love for kids, a big love for people, and a big love of breeding fish, specifically angelfish. And so they actually opened their first shop down in Pennsylvania,
Okay.
this tiny little town. It was actually connected to their house. It was called the Fish Bowl.
Okay.
And she's really the one who was the catalyst behind all of this.
Gotcha. And so it took a few years. Take me back to the day where you guys opened. What
Yeah.
was it as expansive as it is today, or was it more, you know,
I
smaller?
just, I mean, I was in high school and I just remember the excitement. I mean, are you talking about our first location that I was involved in or the Old Town location?
Oh no, I didn't realize. Where was the first location?
So the first location that I'm most familiar with was
Yeah.
back in the former Hazlitt Village Square.
Oh, okay.
And that's where I kind of grew up. So our reptile room was actually separate from the rest of the store. You'd have to
Okay.
go outside to get to it.
Okay.
And that one was, I think, about like 8 to 10,000 square feet. Now our facility in Old Town is about 23,000 square feet.
So the facility in Hazlitt, when did that open?
Yeah. So, well, we this year are celebrating Cheers to 44 years.
Okay.
So as far as when it was incorporated was back 44 years ago.
Wow.
But we had a shift. We went from that location to just a mile up the road, and then
Okay.
we were at the intersection of Hazlitt Road and Okemos Road for a number of years, and then
Okay.
finally made the shift. We needed our own space.
To Old Town.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
So you've been in Old Town since 2004, 6-ish?
2005.
5.
Mhm.
Okay. But prior to that, you were in Hazlitt.
Mhm.
Okay. And this all came about because of your grandmother.
Mhm.
So when you got to Old Town and that building had so much work to be done, was the other location still open while you were working on the new building?
Mhm.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, it had to be. There was so much work to be done on that building, and we
Yeah.
didn't want to cease operating. I mean,
Right.
you have live animals, right? They need to be
Right.
taken care of.
Right.
They need a place to be. Our staff needed a place to have jobs, right? So both at the same time.
And so how many staff do you have now?
We average between 70 and 75.
Because it's a huge place. When you opened in 2005, did you have the amount of critters that you have now, or did that kind of slowly expand?
I mean, when you go from about a 10,000 square foot footprint
Yeah.
to a 23,000 square foot footprint,
Right.
there's the ability to hold more. And our aquatic section expanded greatly. One thing that's wonderful about our current location is we have the ability to actually have a breeding room in the back for our freshwater fish.
Okay.
And so that has expanded. So I'd say that we have more than we did back
Yeah.
then. Yeah.
And so I got to say, I stopped in on Saturday to reacquaint myself. You guys were packed. Good for you. It was a very busy Saturday. And I was just blown away because I used to go to your place when I lived here years ago, but the variety. I mean, it's almost like Noah's Ark, you know? It's almost like you have everything from fish to birds to small animals to snakes. How did you guys become experts in all of those different species?
Yeah, I think going back to the question you asked about how many staff do you have,
Okay.
you know, it is really unheard of. And I think of Preuss as an anomaly so many times. And I've gotten to travel a lot. Every, vacation we'd go on when I was a kid was let's go check out the pet store. Let's go
Right.
to a conference in our
Right, right.
industry. And so specialization comes from having the right people in the
Mhm.
right places. We're also very fortunate in that we're located next to East Lansing, where you just have the epicenter of education when it
Right.
comes to zoo and aquarium science, veterinary science. So we're very lucky that we recruit a lot of students who are going into that field and that are going to be specialists in those different areas.
That I never considered that. That's a great point. What would you say what's the most unusual animal that you have?
This is so hard for me to answer because this is all normal to me, right?
I
I think
know, I
of this
know.
all the time. I think one that has become really popular,
Mhm.
but to the everyday person thinks is unusual, is the axolotl. Reason being, you have Minecraft. It came
Okay.
out. Kids love it. It's
Right.
the first animal kids get excited about when they get off the school bus for their tour at Preuss Pets
Okay.
because they identify it in the video games.
Right.
And they're just this amazingly fascinating creature that can make a really good pet because they have these they look like smiles.
Yeah.
And it's this underwater creature that is so fun to feed. They're dynamic in that you go up to the tank and they come over and you can feed them out of a syringe and it's fun. You feel like
Yeah.
you can get close to your pet. And it's an underwater pet.
Right.
So that's my answer this time.
Okay. I know. Because I saw a huge snake. I saw tarantulas. I saw frogs. So what if someone comes in there and they have it in their head that they want to adopt or own an exotic animal,
hmm
but they've never done it before? Is there Are there classes you can take? Like how do you learn how to take care of a tarantula, or how do you learn how to take care of any other exotic animal? Is there kind of any talking to with them about, okay, this is what you're going to be getting yourself into, kind of thing?
Yeah. So I'm actually on Ingham County Animal Control's Animal Shelter Fund, and I talked to Holly about
Yeah,
this. Also, I'm a big fan of Capillary Humane
yeah,
Society. Julia's wonderful. And there's so many similarities. I mean, same thing when you go to get a dog or a cat.
right.
There's a lot of people that come in, and just because dogs and cats are more common
Hmm.
does not mean they're easier to take care of,
Right,
or that someone walks in with all of the boxes checked
right.
of what they're going to need to do. It comes down to staff training. Staff training is everything, and we do so much as a management team to make sure that our staff are trained on best industry practices, on how to relate to customers. So often, zoos and aquariums recruit our staff from Preuss Pets
Oh,
because we train on how to work with people.
right.
There's so many people who want to work in the world of animal care, whether it's a shelter, a zoo, a pet store, an aquarium. They love animals,
Yeah.
but they don't love people.
Oh, yeah.
And if you don't love people, you can't bridge the gap between the animal and whoever is coming in to get that pet. So we're really big on let's pump the brakes. Let's talk about this.
Hmm.
Let's connect. Connection is key. It's everything. Yes, there are times when we won't adopt out an animal. It's not the right scenario. But the beautiful thing about our type of store and the amount of diversity of different types of pets is that maybe someone doesn't have the ability to go and walk a dog on a
Right,
leash. Maybe they
right,
don't have the time for that. They don't have the yard that should be appropriate.
right,
But maybe they then discover that the perfect pet for them is a tarantula where you can't be allergic to it.
right.
You don't have to take it out on a leash.
True.
You have the expense is so low compared to a dog, let me tell you.
It won't wake you up at 2 a.m. like the cat.
There you go. And so knowing that there are other options. And so I think that that's really important too, is that we have this amazing capacity to go to each different department and explore what options are even out there. I see too often people go out, whether it's adoption or what have you, they do it quickly and they just don't know there are other options and things that you can consider.
Right. Also, the is it a koi pond? Talk about the
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah.
there's a river runs through it in
So
the
you were
store.
just there.
Yeah.
Any guesses how many gallons that is?
Oh gosh. No, it's probably a lot.
So why you should support local.
Yeah.
Our Board of Water and Light bill at Preuss Pets is not small.
Oh, I'm sure it's
So
not. Yeah.
It's 3,000 gallons, that river, and it maneuvers through the store, as you know. There's a
Yeah.
bridge that goes over it, and it's home to our beautiful koi fish, and then my favorite fish in the whole wide world, Hoover, the ripsaw catfish.
And he is how old?
It's a guesstimate, so we think he's between 35 and 40
Wow.
years old.
But now they're not up for sale or adoption.
No,
They're just
no.
there for our enjoyment, and it's beautiful in there. The other thing I liked, because we're in the middle of winter, and it gets so dry indoors because of you're constantly doing the heat. I walked in your place, and it was almost humid, and it felt
Yeah.
so refreshing
Yeah.
in this drier air.
Well, first thing I did when I came in here is I asked for a cup of
I
water,
know,
right?
I
Like
know.
I'm used to living in the tropics over
Right.
in Lansing.
Right.
So yeah, it's very tropical in that building.
And the birds. There was this gracious young lady I was speaking to on Saturday. I forget her name, but I had mentioned to her that way back in the day, my mother had a number of birds when we lived in Florida. And I had a Quaker parrot of my own that I hand fed. And she says, you guys occasionally get Quaker parrots in there too. Is that true?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're adorable. They mimic you. He would walk up on my shoulder and go, "What you doing?
Mm-hmm.
What you doing? Where's Kirk? Where's Kirk?"
Oh.
He was adorable. I love that. But also bunny rabbits too.
Yeah.
Bunny rabbits and gerbils, and it really is like Dr. Doolittle. You know,
Yes.
are there any other places you can think of that even come close to comparing to what you guys offer here?
So interesting. I get asked that question a lot,
Yeah.
actually.
Okay.
This year, I was actually nominated and selected to be on the board for the World Pet Association.
Nice. Congratulations.
And I thanks. I bring that up because I'm now on a board with people who have traveled the extent of pet stores that
Okay.
know what's out there.
Okay.
And when I say Preuss is an anomaly and there isn't much left like us,
Hmm.
not really. There's really
Wow.
not. To do full line independently and to the scale that we do it
Yeah.
is hard. It's a
Yeah.
lot of hard work. And I mean, yes, I'm sitting here and you're interviewing me, but you need my grandmother, you need my mom, you need my dad. It's been such a sacrifice
Yeah.
to do what we've done the way that it's been done. And they deserve so much credit because
Yeah.
it is rare. It's very rare.
Was there any question when you were growing up that this is what you wanted to do?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Because I saw how hard it is.
Yeah.
And that's intimidating.
Yeah.
I think especially when you're young and the options are all out there. It's a lot of hard work.
I
A
bet.
lot of hard work. If you've ever seen the movie, I think it's Matt Damon, We Bought a Zoo.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
It's kind of been my life, right? And
Yeah.
in animal care, I would never call our animals a product, but imagine owning a business where your product goes to the bathroom and your product needs vet care and your product needs compassion and socialization. And it's a lot.
It's a lot. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back. And welcome back to Kirk's Critters Plus. I continue our conversation with Kirbay Preuss. What's the future hold for the place?
Good question. So here I am, and I think the biggest thing is a commitment to animal husbandry, which
Yeah.
we've always been committed to. Continuing to expand our educational classroom. I don't think a lot of people know that we host field trips, that we do tours, homeschool groups. We do classes like toddler time. So expanding that. Also, we just recently expanded in the realm of aquarium service, our aquarium service division. So we actually, a few years ago, purchased a building that's kitty corner to Preuss Pets.
Oh,
And that's actually where our aquarium service works out of. So they've got 3 garage bays,
Okay.
and they get everything ready in the morning. They get the vans ready, and they go out and they install, and then they service aquariums. And we have several accounts that we do that for. So expanding in that realm.
how many species of fish do you guys have? Do you know?
I could not answer that question.
it's-
I don't know. And then people will ask me, do you know how many fish are in here? And I said, well, as we were talking, maybe 5 more because guppies, reproduce so
Right.
rapidly.
Right.
I could not answer that question.
Just the fish department alone is so large, and so many options, right?
Mm-hmm.
How do you help someone narrow it down if they've never had an aquarium before?
Yeah, so I'm so excited for when you're going to have my dad on to delve
Yeah.
into fish more. But I want to say that it really comes down to, and he'll talk about this, the foundational pieces.
Right.
Once you have the foundational pieces in play, it's a lot less overwhelming than you would think
Okay.
to start to get more specific into different categories. So the biggest thing is understanding water chemistry, which can be very intimidating
Yeah.
to someone who is overwhelmed by science.
Right.
One thing I respect so much about my dad is that he's very good at taking concepts that could be overwhelming to the average person and putting them in different types of analogies that they can understand.
Okay.
So rather than saying, we're going to talk through the nitrogen cycle, and someone
that
glossing
phrase.
over.
Yeah, just that phrase. Nitrogen cycle. What?
He talks about, we're going to talk about a chemical storm. You ready?
Okay.
And he's very good at, again, you asked me this earlier, connecting.
Yeah.
And you'll hear him out there on the sales floor. He'll talk to an employee. Were you connected?
Gotcha.
Did you notice when they glossed over and they were looking somewhere else? Did you ask them to recite the information back to you to make sure they understood? Because this animal It all depends on making sure you connected with that customer. And so understanding water chemistry is so essential no matter which path you take with fish, whether you're doing a 150-gallon African cichlid tank or you're doing a 10-gallon planted scaped tank with a betta fish. So understanding that is essential. And then also understanding where your fish come from and ensuring that your fish are healthy. Again, I told you my dad's just wonderful when it comes to different analogies, but he talks about you go somewhere and you buy a pack of socks and you expect to go home and those socks don't have holes.
Right.
If you go to a fish store, you expect to buy a fish and that fish is going to be healthy. And more often than not, people get into situations where they go places, they purchase fish, they don't know the right questions to ask.
Right.
They then learn when they come to Preuss Pets, oh, they quarantine their fish. Oh, they have an aquatic vet on staff that makes his rounds, that if he notices any type of health issue, they get a treatment plan. We can use a microscope. We can diagnose. We make sure the staff are doing their rounds every morning to give medicine when it's needed. And so knowing where your fish come from, and then also once you have the fish, what things to look for that may be concerning, knowing that you can come into Preuss and get your water tested for free. These are the foundational pillars I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So, and then from there, I mean, I tell customers when they come in, what excites you? You know, what do you want to come home and look at in your aquarium?
Yeah.
Okay, let's use that as our North Star, and now let's start from the foundation and build to get there.
Yeah.
To have an aquarium is to love science. Even if you didn't before, you might find you do.
Right.
And also, I find having an aquarium is like a meditation. It's the art of patience. You have to wait. And in this fast world, people are craving that, right? They want to slow down, and aquariums are a beautiful way to do that.
I also know that a sense of community is real important to you in the place. Expand on that, about things you do for the community. I know you've also, there's the cat cafe that's near you. You've shown them some social media love as well. But how important is community to you?
Yeah, when they moved in next door, I constructed the entire expanse of their parking lot, a giant flower out of canned cat food that we then donated to them. When they said they were going to move into Old Town, Kelsey reached out and said, next to you is where I want to be.
Yeah.
I said, okay, here we go. You know, let's hold hands. Let's do this. Community is everything. I think our family, just at our core, we're community-loving people. A big part of why we wanted to invest in Old Town is to help the community. They've reached out to us. We've reached out to them. First person to thank us for moving there was the chief of police at the time.
Wow.
We know what happens when you put small businesses in communities.
Yeah.
It helps.
It helps.
And then beyond that, I mean, part of how I ended up on Ingham County Animal Control's Animal Shelter Fund is just the amount of times I've helped customers with either they've walked in and they have a stray animal, and so I help them out with next steps and what to do. I've always been big on reaching out to our local shelter and getting those animals out to make sure that they're getting adopted. We recently became a mobile pet food pantry. So if you are out of food, I was just actually helping a lady yesterday on social media. You know, I'm going through a domestic violence situation. I'm living in my car.
Oh.
I have no pet food. I said, come in.
Yeah.
Our pantry is always open. It's full. Take the food.
Right.
You need the food. And then the resources go beyond that. We are very much a resource center. Someone finds an injured squirrel, we know where to send them.
Right.
Being around for 44 years, you develop relationships, right? And you learn who all of these other movers and shakers are in the world of animal care who love them and care and want to help them. And so we all have to work together. And when I meet with Julia, when I meet with Holly, we talk about that. We have to be a team for the betterment of animals. We have to. It's all of us together.
And you touched on this briefly earlier, but you do offer a bunch of, classes or seminars or things that go on Is that monthly, right? That you do
Yeah.
this?
So you'll see soon on our social media, we'll be kicking off our aquarium classes again.
Okay.
So you'll be able to come in and for free. Those will be monthly, and you can do that. We also right now offer a monthly free Ask the Trainer session. So we saw a surge after the pandemic
Yeah.
of individuals with behavioral issues with their dogs. And so Dagny's been wonderful. She's from the PALS Academy, and she's there on hand just to answer behavioral questions for free. We also host a monthly dog nail clinic, so you can come in and for low cost get your dog's nails trimmed. Really important
Yeah.
for prevention of health issues,
Right.
just getting nails trimmed. And then we do more than that too. So,
And so people can go to your website or your socials to learn more about that.
yep.
Well, we're almost out of time, and I cannot thank you enough. This has just been a joy. You know, I'm an animal lover. I want to thank you on behalf of the entire community for everything you guys do. And this has been so fun. I hope you've had a good time.
Yeah, it has been great.
And,
Thank you.
And again, if you've not checked out, you need more than, I was only there maybe a half hour. You need a lot more time than that because there's just so much going on, so many different things to see. And again, thank you for all you do. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, that's it for our episode of Kirk's Critters Plus. We appreciate you joining us. And until next time, be nice to a pet.